Welcome to Toffee TV as the final word, joined by Patrick Ridge in the studio, Robert Journalist in the studio. He's also our chief editor of the More Than a Game Substack. There you go. Fulham 0, Everton 0. A game, I've said this on a few things, I'll repeat myself. I took a point yesterday, I think, when we knew that Onana wasn't playing and we had injury issues. But I still sit here after that Beto miss and just think, what a huge opportunity for 3 points.
Yeah. We said on the live earlier, I can't really, I echo that completely. Like, we saw the team, McNeil in midfield, you think, well, God, if we can just get away with something, get away with a point. But then you do realise we're only playing Fulham. Like, they're not exactly in great form. It's Fulham. Like, and I think the game reflects, like, started pretty well. The first half were even. They did get on top in the second half, but ultimately we come away frustrated because despite Fulham having some really good chances in the second half, and they did, like, you know, the strike, Munoz should have scored when he hit it straight at Pickford makes a brilliant save. Everton do go and then have the biggest chance of the game right at the death, and that's the one that sticks with you, isn't it? So, yeah, frustrating, and then made more so by Luton winning as well.
Pat, I mean, we were talking yesterday and there was, you know, the build-up to it, and we were saying, well, can we just keep adding points? And I guess just right now, that's all it's about, but is it a good point? Because, you know, we have had that something when we haven't. I know Fulham they didn't have their full strength team either with a few injuries, but us, we haven't got a squad as big as Fulham's, have we?
Yeah, I think it is a good point if you talk the whole game. I mean, you know, Pickford's pulled off an unbelievable save.
He has.
So you can look at both of those chances and say they were big chances. They were for both sides. I think the thing for Pickford was 0.99 of an expected goal for that save. That just shows you how good a save it was. Yeah, I mean, if we'd had more players on and we played that Fulham team, you'd expect to beat them because they've been on a poor run, but they're not got loads of players available striker wise as well. But I think when you look at the injuries and the changes he's made and everything else, you probably would think, yeah, it's not a bad point that. Stop them from doing the double over us as well.
I know it would have been the first time ever they'd done it, wouldn't it? I think it is about just adding points at the moment. I think obviously the crushing blows obviously Luton's result, but they're gonna win games. At the moment, they're in that lovely little phase where everything's going their way. They're getting the break of the ball, but they're also taking the chances. Adebayo, we know, he give Brandwaite a tough afternoon on Saturday in the cup, and he's had a good night last night. We've got to just stick with them at the moment, I feel, because I do think they will hit a wall because they are limited. They've got, like, Ross Barkley's been brilliant for them all season. They've got a physical side and they do have threats, but I do think that they will come up short against good sides because they're still, most of that team's very much a championship side, but at the moment they're on a crest of a wave. What we have done, I guess, is pull a point back on the likes of Forest. Last night, Brentford aren't too far away from us. We know that Everton's appeal process is going on at the moment. That might yield us some points back. It might not. But we have to just hang on in there while we are trying to get players back, Pat. And we have got a big game at the weekend against Spurs. So if ever, and that'll be a tough game, don't get me wrong. We don't do very well against Tottenham at the best of times at Goodison. But who knows? You know, we might have Idrissa Gana Geba, although we couldn't afford a private plane, I believe. But we might have him back in time for Saturday. Ashley Young returned last night. The core rate's probably going to come too soon for him, despite him getting, you know, teasing everyone by posting pictures of him.
Picture from November the 21st as well.
But just right now in this little difficult spell, it is just about adding points on the board, isn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have got to take a step back and look at. It's, you know, just focus on control the controllables, as Sean Dyche would say, and I think that's the frustration, especially, I know you both mentioned it after the game on Saturday, I share that frustration as well. Like, I don't think Dyche has controlled some of the controllables well enough with his squad rotation, with his substitution. I don't blame him for the midfield issues. Like, who else could we have played really on Saturday? Like, we had two midfielders. Now we've had to go and play Dwight McNeil in central midfield. Like, that happens. But, you know, could his rotation of Danjuma being better? Probably, or Dobbin even, to make sure that McNeil was a bit fresher. Doesn't look as leggy. But in terms of results, we've picked up now, you know, in our two Premier League games, we're unbeaten in 2024 in the league, but picked up a good point against Villa. And again, a good point against Fulham. Like Ped says, it's a good point. But it does put extra pressure on now that when we do have those players back, got to go and get those results. You know, it's putting a lot of pressure on because, you know, realistically, we could look at the next 2 games, Spurs and City, and we do play before everyone else, which is a good thing in some aspects. The pressure's off, but then, you know, how much do we actually expect to get from those matches? So, 3 points would have been such a big boost yesterday, just to keep our heads above water in the sense of not going into the bottom 3.
Yeah, I think just right now we're gonna almost have to put the league table to one side and just concentrate on what we're on. Without the deduction, we'd be on 28 points, we'd be above Fulham, and we'd be looking at maybe Europe. Well, we'd be 4 points off Europe, 4 points off Newcastle, and Brighton who are on 32. Paddy, obviously they had a chance in the first 40 seconds or something from our mistake, but then Everton had a very good chance after about 90 seconds. Dominic Calvert-Lewin did really well and rolled it back to Jack Harrison on his left foot. And when it come to him, and I thought it's got to be 1-0. He was running onto it. Leno was planted, like stuck, and he's put it wide. And they're huge moments for us, aren't they?
Yeah, we don't see those enough, do we? It's muscle memory. I think you don't. How often do we see him take those shots in the actual game? We don't create those chances. So it would have been a lovely start to the game, but yeah, you come back to those ones all the time because we generally don't take chances like that at all. It's why we are where we are, because of the amount of missed chances. I know the manager still claims, or has claimed for a long time, those ones come back, but I just don't think they do. You don't have people who put the ball in the back of the net. I think it's great using those stats and for your own benefit. But if you don't have players who know how to put the ball in the back of the net, then it's not absolute nonsense. And I think that is just one of those moments again where another player or another team who does that more often knows how to do it and takes the chance. And yeah, it is a big chance, but we don't take those chances.
I mean, Pat, you were telling me before that Everton have missed the most chances with Bayern Munich and
Barcelona. Yeah, so Aaron Barton, who works for Opta, and he's a Evertonian as well, so he's always good for the stats after the games. But yeah, he's done a bit of a thread on Twitter, and he explained that only Barcelona and Bayern Munich have missed more big chances in Europe's top 5 leagues than Everton this season, and Everton have the biggest XG underperformance of any team in Europe's top 5 leagues in the league alone. So Everton have scored 10 fewer goals than would have been anticipated based on the quality of chances they've created.
They are so important. Them facts, though, they are. They
are, and it does show that it shows both sides. Like, I think Ped's right, and I agree with Ped as well, that the issue is we're creating these opportunities, but our players aren't putting them away. They're not keeping the composure to put them away. On the flip side, the good thing is we are creating the opportunities and we're finding a way to be effective. But it's such a small sample size, even over a season, in the sense of, like, have we got enough time to catch up? Like what we were saying at the start of the season is eventually it'll catch up with itself. And it kind of did for a bit, but then even in that 4-game run when we did manage to score some goals, the Newcastle game we missed quite a few chances, but apart from that, they kind of ground out results, weren't they? There weren't massive opportunities. Maybe in the Forest game, 1 or 2, but it wasn't like early in the season where they're creating 5 or 6 really good chances a game and should have probably put 3 or 4 of them away. It has been a sense of actually ground out. Like the Chelsea game, for example, I think we really had 3 chances and scored 2 of them. So even since then, I think we've seen, which is what I always feared, is that eventually, yes, the numbers maybe catch up with themselves, but also it drops off in a sense that it's not sustainable to create those chances all the time because teams find out how to counter it. So it is a bit of both, and it only will get solved by the players finding some composure.
I think it'll only get solved by having better players.
Well, that's eventually down the line.
That's why I don't buy into them. That's why I don't buy into those numbers, because when you listen to people and people tell you, and people with stats back vision of watching football, to me, it's about what the actual person does. And if the people are consistently missing the chances, creating good chances doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't.
Well, let me ask you about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he is someone who has scored goals in the past. So you would think that if you give him enough opportunities, he would score. But he's another one who's missing.
But he doesn't score. He doesn't get enough opportunities, though. He personally doesn't get enough opportunities. We can sit here and talk about what we should be doing, but he doesn't personally get good opportunities. He might get one in a game, but his shooting tells you that he doesn't, because he doesn't shoot on target. That's that. Now, maybe this means extra work on the training pitch, setting up scenarios that have actual other humans trying to stop you from scoring.
Yeah.
That might be a bonus. Because they keep on videos of him scoring, there's no one near him. Get Ned to do that.
Well,
No, yeah. Sorry.
if you watch the Christmas video, that was a struggle.
No, but it's funny how our chances, like that one, Harrison, it's Dom creating the chance for Harrison, and that's what Dom does 75% of the time. And actually, what I was annoyed with Dom on Saturday was of how impotent he was in terms of his game. Last night there was a bit more of it. Actually, I think he won 10 of his 14 aerial duels. Something like that.
I think he was.
He was a lot. That's what I'm saying.
I think he played better last night than he has done in a while.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what you want. He sets up the play for other people, the knockdowns. So Dom doesn't always get on the chances, and he is a very frustrating player. Types of goals he scores, we don't create because we don't we're not putting crosses in the box. We're not getting to the byline. The things he likes, we're not having other runners running off him to create the space. So Dom it's a weird one with him because he's playing up front on his own. He just doesn't get the chances. But those players like Harrison, McNeil, James Garner, a lot of the times don't have more than two shots between them in a game, and that's the real issue. That is the real issue. You know, whoever's playing deep line centre midfield, obviously normally Onana doesn't really shoot. Full-backs don't get high enough to shoot.
Garner does shoot, but he shouldn't. So when he plays,
but James Garner doesn't shoot.
No,
he doesn't shoot
enough.
And we talked about this the other day about having that one player who can shift the ball from right to left or left to right and create that. I've seen that last night with Eze's goal.
Yeah.
Just having that one player. We don't have that, so you can have all those stats all you want, and Sean can come out and tell you that repay you. It doesn't repay you if you don't have the talent, and that's the problem. And I'm not having a go from to like XG is. I understand it's a good tool, but what it should be a good tool for is going to look at those numbers and going, right, what can we do on the training pitch? What can we do to affect this? What areas do we need to be in to get the knockdowns? But that's why I think he likes Jack Harrison playing as the core sub, because he can go left and right.
Well, he was. I wanted to come on to Harrison because I know he seems to get. I think people are very harsh with Jack Harrison. He's not amazing, of course he isn't, and he's a good hard worker. He's up and down. I think he does carry a bit of a threat. To me, this season he's been far better than Dwight McNeil. Far better. Dwight McNeil's had moments when he smashed a couple in, but overall Harrison's been far better. But he had two good chances last night. One in the first half that we've just talked about. He had one in the second half where he cut in and he hit it straight at Leno. But he's probably the most effective player we have when Decore's not there, playing there. Everton's issue is we haven't had Ashley Young for a while Decore's been out, so we couldn't play in there. And the manager just right now doesn't think Lewis Dobbin's a capable replacement on the wing.
Or Danjuma.
And I think
that's the issue,
and I think a big thing with I think we've all rightly questioned Dyche's use of Danjuma. Not that Danjuma's been amazing when he's played by any means. I just think there's a frustration with maybe not seeing him more. But I think at least maybe part of that as well comes from the fact that McNeil is so ineffective on the right. He's I mean, and this isn't to have a good look. I still think he works very hard, and he's not fit at the minute. I don't know why he was rushed back. I don't know why he played 80 minutes on Saturday. That was crazy, and I put that on the manager. He did very well in an unfamiliar role, apart from a few little mistakes yesterday. Fair play to the lad, and he'll always put a shift in. But this is the issue. He is so ineffective on the right. So it's almost like, because I think what McNeil can bring, we had this last season whenever Wobie was here, and Wobie's big fans were always saying, he's got to play on the left, but you can't play him on the left because that means McNeil going to the right. And Iwobi might not offer tons from the right, but he definitely offers more than McNeil does. And McNeil offers more from the left than worth moving him. And I think this is the issue we have with, we mentioned a possibility earlier of like Ismail Assar coming in. That could maybe solve one of those issues of just having another option who is versatile. I think they wanted it to be Danjuma in that sense, but I also got a bit, even at the time I was, I remember Thelwell saying, he can play anywhere across the front line. I'm like, he's not played on the right ever. And he's not looked like capable of doing.
He doesn't cross it though.
He doesn't, because he's not
So selfish.
Yeah, his numbers even at Villarreal last, when we were first linked with him, and it was like, well, what type of player is he? And I did a bit of a piece, and it was at the time for work at the time, and I looked into it, and he's like, chance creation was so far down, but what he was ironically a good finisher. Like he was outperforming his all the numbers. Like he was saying, he'll get into good positions and he usually scores. Now we haven't seen that this season. No. The one time we have, Sheffield United away, when he kind of popped up in a good position. But I just think it's almost like when there's one injury, and this is the issue with the squad, you take one player from somewhere and it messes 4 positions up because we haven't just got that ready-made replacement to come in. So it must be frustration for Dyer. At least with young back, you can think, like, if Onana comes in on Saturday or Idrissa Gana comes back, we can maybe just keep that young Harrison, McNeil free behind the striker, and each of them is in their best positions then. Yeah. In terms of Harrison's probably better on the wing, but at least he can fill in there and offer a bit of something.
We did see Danjuma in the first half, went on a run and cut in on his right foot, and you're thinking, is there options? Is he just going to give it Richarlison against Wolves a few years ago, and he just blazes it over? And one of the things I've noticed with him, or what he's shown at Everton rather, maybe not all over the place, but there's no composure from him. He just like
that's the crazy thing. In Spain he had it, and in the Champions League he had it, but
he didn't have it in the Premier League with Bournemouth, because he didn't score the Premier League goal for them either.
More out on the wing in that sense. But when you look at his like best moments or his goals for Villarreal, it was often what he'd do would play like a 1-2, and we don't have a midfielder who can play a 1-2. Really, you do a 1-2 and he'd run in behind, and he'd almost be in that left-hand channel, and it was like almost operating on instinct. And I do think the way we play, again, it's not taking the onus off him, but he has this like kind of space to run into, and he's just like tunnel vision, like you've said. He's just so selfish. So I think, and that's almost like he's not operating on instinct. Then he's kind of just going.
I wouldn't mind if he hit the target.
Yeah, that's me thing.
I wouldn't mind if he just hit the target. There was a couple of times in that first half where he had legitimate good options, and he chose to run. And I don't mind that, because that's his game, and that's clearly why the manager doesn't like him.
And the irony is, the one time he's decided to pass in recent matches, he puts Calvert-Lewin through for that chance against Villa with a very good pass.
Great ball.
And it's frustrating because it's there, and I can understand then, like you said, why Dyche would want someone like McNeil there who he knows what.
But I like that, because it's something different, isn't it? It's a different way, different kind. He's a wide forward.
It's a different threat, isn't it?
McNeil is obviously
a wide midfielder.
But if you're when you're like trying to, Everton obviously very limited in what they could do this summer. So when you're trying to build that, and you go for someone like Danjuma and he comes in, he's got to be someone who, I was saying like to my dad last night, watching it, he's like, he's done nothing. It's February practically, and he hasn't done nothing. You look at Brayton Diaz. I didn't think he was good enough for the Premier League. A lot of clubs looked at him and were like, not sure. He's gone to Villarreal, played 12 games, hasn't scored a goal, right? Yeah. But he's come in, and even if he doesn't score another goal for Sheffield United, he's affected a couple of games. He's got 2 at the week, 1 at the weekend, 1 last night. Yep. Okay, they lose last night, not him. He scores a nice goal cutting in. He's made an effect on them already, and he will be just by the way he is. Now, I get there'll be a lot of Evertonians listening here going, well, the manager's not giving me enough opportunities. But I don't think we can always lay that on the manager either, though, because he sees him every day.
The manager, if you listen to his press conferences, the manager lays breadcrumbs in his press conference. He said, I think he said it last night about, he wasn't talking about Danjuma, but he was talking about turning up every day to training.
Yeah.
And that's how and he was talking about Ben Godfrey.
Yeah.
And he was saying, they turn up every day to training, and that's where I make my decisions. And he said, and Ben Godfrey's been brilliant, professional, doing his job and training. But you listen to enough, you start to follow the bread, and you can see what he's saying about other players without ever referencing them. Yeah. And it's clear that Danjuma doesn't do enough to affect what he wants in training. Now, it might just be a case of what he wants is just completely alien to Danjuma, and then it's like, that comes down to recruitment in the first place. Why did you bring him down? I was listening to something, it was the Julia Bold interview the other day, and he was talking about Kevin Felwell, and he was like, you can bring them in, but if I don't like them, I won't play them.
Is that what he said?
He literally said it, and again, I just thought, are you talking about someone who's talking about Danjuma there? He's like, because he was not the relationship, and he's like, well, you can bring them in, but I just won't play them. He said it's as simple as that.
That's not good, though, is it?
No, but I could see what he was saying. What he was saying was,
that's a club,
we have to work together when we're bringing people in.
Do you get the feeling with, and again, I don't know, but do you get the feeling with Dan Juma, though, that basically Kevin Thelwell just said to Dyche in the summer, listen, we haven't got any money, and this is an easy deal to do, and he'd score goals and whatever. Because it doesn't strike me like Dyche...
There's not a chance on earth, Sean Dyche wanted Dan Juma, but it was there. It was all signed and sealed. All he had to do was just get the signature this time and shut the gates. That's all he had to do. That's all. And
shut the gates.
And Thelwell's probably gone, I have to get this one done because for my reputation.
And as well, I think I agree with everything that you both said, but also I think with Dan Juma, it's fitting a system.
Yeah.
It's his system. It's his, like you meant, he's a wide forward. Dyche's system does not have a wide forward, so I can appreciate what he's saying about training. Maybe not doing the right things in terms of. Like, I don't think we've heard anything about his attitude. In fact, I know he's doing his coaching badges at Everton as well.
We've said this all season. There's never been any indication he's not committed or he's not. But there's more to that. I
think with Dyche, a manager like Dyche, it's almost like if you're a player who isn't quite suited to the way he's going to play, you're almost behind the 8 ball from the beginning. He's a bit like Godfrey.
He probably failed the bleep test.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. You've got to kind of really assert yourself above and beyond what you can actually do. And maybe he just hasn't done that.
Yeah.
And then we can say that in the games he played, he definitely hasn't done it. Apart from the 2 he started in a row in the League Cup and the against Sheffield United, and he scored and he affected the game in that sense. But yeah, it's frustrating. But then on the other side, you're like, but look how tired McNeil is. Look how tired. Look could there not have been opportunities to give him more of a go?
No doubts about it that he should have been given more opportunities to save other players, not necessarily because he's earned it.
I think that's where some people get it wrong when you're talking about making subs and stuff like that. You look at it as in like, oh, Nana, why did you leave him on the pitch on Saturday then? If he's got an injury and he was lucky to
finish the game.
Why was he lucky to finish the game?
I was watching him and he was waving to the bench with about 20 minutes left, and Dyche was like
gone over earlier.
Dyche was shaking his head, and at the end I thought he'd done his hamstring.
Yeah.
He was holding his hamstring and he was looking at the bench, and I said to Andy, the lad that's sitting next to me, I went, oh, Nana's done his looks like he's done his hamstring here. It was about 85 minutes, and he was looking, and they were like that, like as if to say, just get on with it.
But
because he must have been saying, is it gone? And he's probably going, no, but it's and they were just going.
That's definitely where I don't get Dyche, and I've said this loads of times about the subs. If you've got a lad who's genuinely injured and there's 10 minutes to go, you take him off, because I listened to his press
Wasn't it Fulham when he done his knee? What game was it?
So the cup game against Burnley, the League Cup game, when Onana played and then he missed the next 3. I mean, ironically, we obviously lost to United. Who did we after Burnley?
We won at Forest.
Did we win at Forest? No, sorry, after the Burnley game in the cup.
Oh, Burnley in the cup.
And we then went and played
Brighton at home. We had after Burnley, and we drew 1-1.
Drew 1-1. But so obviously, and we got him back then for the Palace, but then he went off at half time, didn't he? And then we got the point. Anyway, we're missing for the next few that we won after the United game. But that's when it annoyed me with Dyche, because I've got nothing wrong with wanting to consistent team, totally get it. Play your best player. Onana had played really well in the few games before that. But he got that. He went off, didn't he? After about 75 minutes, he'd scored the goal to put us 2-0 up. He played really well, but after the game, or in the next press conference where it was confirmed Onana was injured, Dyche said, "Oh yeah, he went into Wednesday's game with a knock."
With an injury.
And it's like, well, why did you start him in a home game against Burnley in the cup? And then when there was actually options at that point, and then it was like, then why did you leave him on? After he'd scored to put us 2-0 up after 55 minutes, why did you leave him on for another 20? That's where
it's hard to defend him, isn't it? That's where it's hard to defend him. If Onana was injured with 10 minutes to go on Saturday, they should have just come off. Should have come off and said.
Because we've got no options.
If you have got a plan B and your plan B...
He's could put Mackenzie Hunt on.
Yeah, or just go, right, when put McNeil in the middle.
Yeah, like you did in a Premier League.
Like you did at the start of a Premier League game. And just move a few things about. Then Dobbin could have come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to our... I mean, they'd had 2... Pickford made a good save, Anthony Robinson, which is deflected. That was a good save, and another really good save. I think he had
a really good game, Robinson, again. Apart from the pick on.
I am going to come on to that in a sec. But they had a chance that Raul Jimenez should have really scored as well. He screwed it wide, didn't he, when it broke to him. But then there was a huge moment in the game which again has left Evertonians scratching their heads, because Everton have a free kick. The free kick's whipped in. Leno spills it. Tarky, for me, has got to score. There's one lad on the line. Everyone's laying on the floor. He's got to score. Deflects, hits the bar, comes down and hits Anthony Robinson on the arm. The hand. I should have really sent Ned the picture to put the still up right now, because I know some people were like, no, I think it hit his stomach first.
No.
Nowhere near his stomach. His hand is out here. His hand is here. I get Ned to put it up before the end of the thing, but his arm's stretched out. It hits his hand. Now, I'm not saying he put his hand to get it, but it hits his hand and there's no one else in the way. So that, to me, is a penalty.
Well, I mean,
it's got to be a pen, surely.
There we go. It nearly goes in. Because
it is. No, his arm's not by his side.
Not by his side, is
which is what VAR said.
That's what VAR said.
His arms are by his side, so that's why we didn't award the penalty.
And it's like, okay, it gets cleared off the line. There's about that much of the ball
there is,
not gone over.
There is.
The only reason it's got there is because it's hit his arm.
Exactly, yeah.
And look, that's the biggest thing. The rule is obviously stupid. We all say it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this natural, unnatural position. It's like, well, how can you deem what is natural? Like, I don't think he's not like necessarily running there and he's deliberately gone for it, but his arms aren't by his side. And if you're like that, if that's the reason they genuinely gave, then I mean, it's not just incompetence. It's just factually.
Can
wrong.
I ask you something then?
Yeah.
Right. If that is if that is natural position to run like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's natural.
Well, not to me.
Right. What's that if you kick a ball at my face?
It's a lot more natural.
Is that natural?
Yeah.
Or am I supposed to go on, smack me in the face? So that to me is natural because I'm reactive.
Dan Zuma got done for that ball.
We give a penalty
for last night.
Dan Zuma won.
He got done for that ball, which was absolutely nothing. It was just, the ball went up, he went like that, like to block his face. It was like, that what's different? How is that different from what Michael Keane got punished for?
No, it's not. I think we all said it. Michael Keane
was a penalty. No, you can't. With our thing in here, as much as that referee that day robbed Everton because he should have sent Konate off, that's a penalty. When Michael Keane put his hand out at Anfield, that was a penalty.
And the irony is, Pawson didn't give it until he went to the screen.
He looked away like that, Keane. So he wasn't looking at the ball and put his hand out. He looked away. But it was a penalty because he had his... Because
he was running like he was, as you get caught, like shouting for a bus. And,
that was what Robinson
What I don't get about that is that the VAR have looked at it for about 5 seconds. So when I first seen that last night, straight away I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was handball. But to me, when I saw it, almost like as an illusion, it felt like his hands were by his side because that's where they end up. So naturally, you almost like your brain tells you one thing. When you see a picture, and I know people go with this whole slowing things down, but sometimes you need a picture to see what actually happened.
You just watch it again.
And if they'd watched it again and stopped it there, they would have seen it. Because I know he's touched it towards the goal, but what if his hand had gone the other way and it stopped it from going in? Or there's an Everton player behind that was ready to knock it in, and that touches. It's a handball. It's a penalty. There's like... It doesn't have to. There shouldn't be this big hot conversation about what is handball and what isn't handball, or what's natural. There's no such thing as an unnatural position. If your arm is connected to the rest of your body, it's in a natural position.
Unless he hasn't took it off and glued it to his leg, has he?
Is sitting on that table over there, right? That's an unnatural position. It's just nonsense. This thing about deliberate handball doesn't exist. It only exists in things like Maradona and bloody Luis Suarez. They're the only times that happens when you deliberately handball it. 99% of the time a handball is just where your arm just happens to be and the ball hits you. So in terms of Onana's, the shots come and his arm is almost naturally fell back towards his head. It's nonsense. We shouldn't even be having a conversation because it opens this conversation about what's natural, what's unnatural. It's handball. It's right there in front of you. The ball is bouncing in the box and he's forced it in a direction that it wasn't going in. That's handball. That is the top and bottom of what handball is. That's it. So it's bollocks.
It is. It's a joke because, like you said, at the time, before VAR, a referee might say, never seen it, or it happened too quickly, or whatever, and they could hide behind that almost, couldn't they? You can't hide behind it now when you see a picture of it. You're seeing it shown again. People will argue the toss sometimes over oh, well, you know, the motion of it, or however they want to try to cover up like they do. But he had his arms out to the side. And if you have an arm out to the side and it hits your hand, it's a penalty. End of story. And no matter what people come up with, that to me was a penalty, and they get the second opportunity. And lately, when Everton have had the penalty call, it seems to have been looked at with it for 3 seconds. No. When it's been against us, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hang on, is this a pen? Let's have a look. I'm not saying they got instructions. I might not be saying they've got instructions not to give Everton a penalty. Everton's still, of course, the only Premier League club this season without a penalty, and have had the most against them. But that could be coincidence.
Longest team in,
could be pure coincidence.
I think Aaron Barton, another stat, the team has gone in Europe has gone the longest without a penalty by 9 games. So we're 29 games
Everton
without a penalty.
Yeah.
Lorient are the next one on 20. So
I'm not saying that's got anything to do with Little Dicky. I'm just saying, and that's exactly what I'm not saying. I'm not saying there's any kind of Premier League
regardless of that.
That to me was a penalty.
Bad. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I can, like Pen said at the time, when you look at it just in normal speed, I can kind of understand the referee not. I can understand the referee not seeing it because you almost like assume that the hand is by the side, but. Yeah, for it not to be given on VAR, it's just crazy.
Also, though, the media attention on it is weird as well, because I've seen 3 different journalists talking about it, and all of them is, oh, Everton were really unlucky because the ball hit the bar, and then was cleared off the line without going. How did it get to the line? Like, that's the other thing. It's like, if this had happened in tonight's game, Liverpool, Chelsea. Yeah. They'd be talking about it for days, but because it's happened
in a nothing game,
then it's absolutely crazy.
I just look and think, if you can't look at that picture again and within, I don't know, 5 seconds go like that, that's a penalty. Then we're gonna have to have like someone with a baseball bat smash one of our players in the legs or something before we're gonna get one. But listen, it wasn't given, and we went in at half time, and it was quite an even first half. I had a look at the stats at half time. I think they'd had 11 shots, Everton had 10, something like that, and the possession was maybe 57-43 or something. Yeah, 57-43, something like that. So it might have been a bit higher than that at one stage, because I was thinking, hang on, we've got far too much.
Get us back to 35.
Yeah, get us back. But we came out for the second half, and they did step it up. I thought they'd come out. We were getting a little bit further back in that second half, and they did carry more of a threat second half.
It reminded me of the Burnley game when we were 2-0 up in that.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like we were almost encouraging them to come on and have more of the ball, knowing we were going to.
I think that was a tactic, or
it's hard to say.
I think we ran out of steam a bit. I think I think we all mentioned McNeil's not been fit since the injury at Palace, but. And not look great anyway, but played in an unfamiliar position, like you could tell. So the chance that Fulham have where Godfrey comes back and makes the great interception, that comes from McNeil. Well, Braithwaite plays a bit of a poor pass, but McNeil gets it under control, just hesitates, takes his mind off it, and gets robbed, and he can't even get back. It's actually Garner bursts past, which shows the fitness levels as well, like you have to have in central midfield. And obviously Godfrey makes a great interception, but I think that was the second time in about 5 or 10 minutes that McNeil had given the ball away just by playing an under-hit pass or just not quite focusing. And I think it was just that we put so much into the first half, playing in an unfamiliar position that, 3 days, go back to squad rotation, but 3 days off after the last game, you kind of, you just, your concentration's the first thing to go, isn't it? So I think it's a natural thing that you sit back. So I think what maybe they naturally did was, okay, we're going to sit deep, we're going to try and soak it up. But we got to that point where we didn't look comfortable. Like against Burnley, we generally maybe 1 or 2 moments, but apart from that, dealt with it fine. I think yesterday you saw that they were tired, and that's when I mentioned it in the live. But between the 65th and the 80th minute, Fulham just dominated, and it was actually until Dyche, in fairness, made the subs, and I don't think Dom was winning everything in the air pretty much, like 10 out of 14 that he won. But no one was able to get up and around him, where in the first half, people were getting around him.
But Ped, I mean, just before we got to that 65th minute, like Patrick said, and they kind of did take over, Dom had 2 opportunities. He hit the crossbar with one, the looping header, and then his other one, you could see what he was trying to do. I thought he should have done slightly better. with the other header that he looped over.
Oh, yeah. They were just behind him.
Just behind him, but he could see what he was trying to do. But we also had the Harrison moment that I talked about before, when it was a good, actually, nice little bit of play, and he cuts in and he's in the middle of the goal, and I'm thinking, that's the corner of the net.
We had a good one from Godfrey as well.
And Ben Godfrey,
You flashed one across, and it could just need a touch, didn't it? No, I almost feel like sometimes when we play like that, when we do let people come on, it's more like I know people say like you work harder when you don't have the ball, but I almost feel like it is we're having a rest.
Yeah.
Like they're having, because they know.
They just sat in.
They know when we defend on the 6-yard line or the penalty spot or whatever, that we can deal with most things. I know we got lucky last night. Well, not lucky, Jordan Pickford save, but I think a lot of the time it's just like, lads, for 10 minutes, just allow them to like just dominate us, because they won't do anything with it, because they'll have watched enough to know what teams can do if you give them too much.
And it's then what we do after that 10 minutes, isn't it? And I think last night, because Silva made some changes as well, had that bit more to play with. Maybe last night was like we did like what you said, had those chances, and then it was like we didn't know how to kick back into gear, and we didn't have the energy to do it, and maybe that was.
Thank God they didn't have Harry Wilson.
And then that's when you wait. Well, Jimenez went off as well, didn't he, at half time? But that's when you're waiting for our subs, aren't you?
It's like, who did we have?
And he doesn't like making early subs.
No.
Making any.
He didn't, and to be fair,
and we didn't have any.
Didn't really have
he didn't. And that's why I don't have a go at him for necessarily in the Premier League. I thought having 3 cup matches in the space of a couple of weeks is when you can start. If the cup's not your priority, then make sure it's not your priority. Make sure you're giving other people.
Jordan Pickford did make 2 good saves. Well, one from Muniz that he should have saved. It was a header. He should have done better. He was on his own, free header in the middle of the goal, and he headed it straight to Pickford. He had one that he scuffed wide as well, as we were hanging on a little bit. But the save from Adebayo was incredible, wasn't it? Willian does well, holds it up, and seems to have played well against us. Good cross, and it's a good header, and it looks like a goal, doesn't it? For all it's worth, and Pickford throws up the right arm and tips it over the bar. His arms didn't look that little as he set for that one. And pushed it over the bar, and it was a key save. I give him man of the match for that save, because in general, he was fine, but that's a huge moment to keep Everton, because they scored there. Are we going to equalise? Well, you never know, because you don't know what things sometimes happen like that. But it was, Ped, what a save. It was a goal, isn't it? It's a goal,
you can keep watching that and expect it to go in. That's how good a save it is. Even though that was an incredible save, and that's the difference. We've spoke about Virginia and said, how good he's been doing, but those are the saves that make Pickford just better than a lot of other goalkeepers, certainly better than any other English goalkeeper. They're the ones that, Adam Ramsdale makes that, God, my God, building statues to Marty.
The Athletic could do 40-page pull-out.
They'd build a statue where he's got his arm around Bobby Moore outside Wembley, wouldn't he, if he'd saved that? That was just, it's what wins you the point at the end of the day. You talk about chances we missed, and we will, but that's what wins you the point. That's why he is so revered, and he is England's number 1. Something that comes from nothing, something he just thinks going in. The power's there.
It was a really good header. It was behind him. It was a really good header, and it's just a brilliant save. And I almost thought, for whatever reason, I don't know if I just got it in my head that it was going to be 0-0 last, because you have the first half where so many chances are missed, and I know it was a brilliant save, but I was like almost not surprised he made it, because I just kind of felt like Pickford was one of them. He was in one of those games where maybe a bit like the Brighton game last season, where he was, obviously I know they did score a scruffy goal at the end, but like he was on it. He was so on it, and you can tell with Pickford. I think you can always tell with him. But it's a fantastic.
So there are games where you just go and someone scores, and you go, what? You haven't read the script. This is supposed to be a 0-0.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be, and last night was, this is supposed to be a 0-0. But 2 teams that haven't got all their best players, got injuries. This is supposed to be a 0-0. So, to be fair, if he had scored, that would have been on the striker for not reading the rules.
Well, they'll have had the mandate from the Premier League to tell you what score this was supposed to be.
The WWE.
At its finest. Everton did make a couple of changes. Don went off, Beto came on. We saw Nathan Patterson come on in a right wing role.
A kind of role.
Well, Young had done well, hadn't he? But
he had done well.
Rushed back, and he had a really solid game. And Godfrey had up, and Godfrey had a really good game. Considering He's not getting picked to come in and play right back as well.
Yeah, and he's not.
I thought he'd done well.
Yeah, and playing as a right back, I've always been more impressed with Godfrey as a left back, or if he's been playing in a back three on the right side. He's like, I think he last played against right back at Fulham, maybe at home in the last season, and then I think maybe the Newcastle game he filled in there, like badly. So but I just think he did because especially the way we played it. It was almost a back five at times.
Yeah.
With
So
Young,
he
like,
sucked in and Young played right back at
and
times.
Godfrey was just able to focus on this kind of narrow channel,
though.
and he's very good at that.
Could you imagine though if Ben Godfrey was good at footy? Like he'd be like Alphonso Davies. He really would. Like, if he was good at footy, he would be.
We got,
but you know what I mean?
I think he's technically a better footballer.
If he was good at
Plays in
footy.
the Premier League.
No, but what I mean by that is like
he's an athlete,
the
isn't he?
pace and the power is unbelievable. Like recovery runs.
See, that's why when I look at him, I just think.
But even in the final,
something there with him.
But he can even get into the final third and get back.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. So he almost goes, I have no issue getting into the final third because I will get back. I think that's almost like an issue that we have with all of our fullbacks.
Do you think the manager might have stumbled upon something here in terms of... No, but what I mean by that is, I know a lot of people don't like three at the back, right? They don't like it. But when you've got Ashley Young in front of you...
that wasn't three at the back.
No, I know, but you can vary that. Carlo used to do this. You can vary it because Mikalenko is trying to get forward a bit more now and Young can cover Everton. While Decore's not fully up to speed, you could easily play three in midfield, Harrison off a striker,
I think
and have them there with Godfrey's recovery pace.
Especially in the league, that was our best performance under Dyche without Decore. Like our most effective performance.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had many of them, obviously, and luckily he hadn't missed that many. I think Ned actually mentioned in December how he's not very injury prone, and then since then he's played one game. So cheers, Ned.
It was on around the tower. He wanted Mikalenko injured to see how we cope.
Right. Okay. Great.
And then he threw Decore's name just to see how we cope. As if it was just a laugh. We'll have a challenge because we win every game. Let's take a couple of players on and see how good we are.
Though, that show has become a bit of a jinx. I did say, is this the most chilled out we've been? The next day we got 10 points. So maybe we should just shut up.
Well, on round the tower, we should start saying things like, "Oh, Everton will lose every game," and
they will lose it.
You know what I mean?
No, but going back,
Dom will never score another goal. Cue a hat trick.
But yeah, maybe he's without Decore there. That kind of just that balance, and we did look back. I think we looked balanced as we could last night with a centre back.
What I'm trying to say is, do we offer Ben Godfrey a 10-year contract and make him captain? Basically, that's what we're trying to say here. No, we don't.
Sack Brampwaite off and get him back.
When we made them changes, we did have a couple of wonderful chances to take all 3 points. And Beto, I still don't understand how he's missed that chance. I keep seeing it again.
Well, I've got a reason for it.
No, but I don't care who you are. Nias, whoever plays, Cuca Martina. I'd expect him to head it in. I expected Beto to score. It's not like he's never scored a goal. Ball come in.
Sometimes it does look that way, though.
No, his header against Fulham in the cup was harder than that one. And he equalised for us, remember. Ball, deep corner. Tarkowski does brilliant. I mean, it was good to see us remember that when we actually hit the ball to Tarkowski, we get chances, because it's almost as if we went like Ned. Oh, we're getting too many chances off doing that. Let's stop for a bit, just for a laugh. But we done it last night, and it was a good header, great header back across, took the keeper out. And you see Beto rise, and you think, here it is. We've waited, and I don't think he can understand how he's missed it, because he just had to get it on target.
He's so ungainly, isn't he? I do think there's a player in there, but it's.
He's so raw, isn't he?
And you can get away with that in Serie A. You really can. And I don't think the Premier League's exactly amazing. I think he's so rushed the way he does everything. He's either one end, he's either too rushed or he's too slow. Yeah. Like against Luton the other day, like there was.
Yeah, he thought he had hours.
And then the one time he kind of gets it right against Luton, he gets it out to Harrison and we score from it. He does well to win, does it? I think he wins the initial free kick that then leads to the corner.
It was a good turn, actually.
Yeah, by using what he's good at, and you need that moment for him, and it's like he almost jumped too early. It's like he'd read what was going to happen, and he's like, oh, I need to get up and do it, and then because he's doing that, he just loses all bodily function for 2 seconds, and it
like the one against Forest where he completely missed it, and then McNeil smashed it in and scored.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But then we have another moment, Ped, as well. I mean, we've got that better one you can talk
What
about.
is it this week with back posts? Dan Juma on Saturday. Now, then this one in the last minute where him and Ben Godfrey completely forgot how to use their feet.
The player.
I'm not, like, you know...
They just kicked it against each other.
I was never a professional footballer,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they have to be able to kick... It's just like, you just want someone in that moment, like Tarkowski.
Did you hold your breath? I held me. As it's Bob, I'm going... I can feel myself hold my breath, thinking, we've scored. It was just like... And then all of a sudden I see Leno with the ball and I'm like, what's happened there? They're kicking it against each other. The pair of them are having air shots. It's like... How?
I don't get myself
Luton done that at the week. No, I don't normally.
I don't get myself in that kind
I
of
normally
stage,
go,
though.
it's Everton, we won't score. But last night, it just seemed impossible that we'd been given. It was almost like the football gods went, nah, we're not having Beto missing from there. You're having another one till you get it right. It's not like the way Nedel turned FIFA off when he's getting beat to replay it.
That's
almost like what happened.
Even after that chance, Fulham give it straight back to us.
Yes, we got it again.
And that's when Godfrey has all the time and space to pick across and it's the first man. But yeah, it was mad on that chance. I don't know. Like... Just
Everton.
Yeah.
It's just Everton, innit? It's just No, again, someone had gone. The football gods had decided it was going to be a 0-0.
Maybe.
You're not allowed to have this.
Maybe.
You're not allowed to have it.
They'll give you a little bit of a tease of what could have been.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It was like we said before, with the team, with the injuries.
Like that. See this. That's happiness. See that? See, just take it away.
He took that away months ago, mate. He took it away months ago.
Months?
Years ago.
2000,
years ago.
2012.
30 years ago. Yeah, there you go.
2012 when Seamus Coleman fouled that Liverpool player in the corner for no reason. That's when they took it away. That was the moment.
Some would say they took it away when Tim Abbott decided not to die for Drogba's head in the cup final when Everton were winning 1-0. That's what some... Oh, he threw Lampard.
If you were educated, you already knew that.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Let's have a look at James Tarkowski. He got man of the match off a few outlets, so let's have a look at him. There's his heat map there.
Look where the heat map is. Look where he's defending. That's amazing. That's what I'm saying. We had the rest and we just...
In our 6-yard box.
And he's had popped up on the right wing a few times, which is good to see.
He went on that run though, didn't he? He was like running with the ball down the wing. You were like, where are you going?
Know what it looks like? It looks like he's sending out smoke signals to the bench to say, come and help us.
Maybe. Maybe he's looking for Thelwell to go any chance of getting some players in. 43 touches, nine clearances, 2 block shots, won 4 out of 6 of his duels, and tackles 1, is it? Another good performance from him.
Yeah, there was a few that he made. There was one where he was running back with that Munoz again, and he does really, really... He actually gets a little push in the back. I don't think it was a foul, but he does really well to... direct it off, because I hate to pick on him, but if that's Michael Keane, it's going top corner of your own net. So it's one of those that he did, and I don't think Braithwaite had his best game yesterday. I just think he got pulled out a little bit, and he was being a little bit rash.
His numbers suggest he did have a better game than Tarky.
Understandable. Well, this is,
and you should know that.
Should do bad.
Who did? His mum?
Braithwaite.
Or son?
His numbers.
Oh, his numbers? What? He said his mum? I was going to say, what? His mum phoned you up, man. He had a better game than Tarky.
That's Jack Allison's mum. She rings me and says, he had a better game than everyone. And
Braithwaite's mum would have gone, made in Carlisle, yeah.
Carlisle.
No, I think with Braithwaite, it was getting a bit...
Born in Carlisle.
Yeah, a dragged out a tiny bit, but I think Tarkowski did... He just took command of the situations when he came in. We allowed too many crosses anyway, but I think last night, especially when Fulham built up that pressure, like there was a few times when, especially after Young went off, and there was an occasion where Garner and Patterson and Godfrey was screaming at them both, and they both just like turned around while Fulham walked down the left wing, and got a ball in, and it was just. But yeah, Tarkowski generally dealt with it really well. But I mean, I think Pickford for me would have been the standout.
For me, he had to get
he was my man of the match. I think
that's safe. Let's have a look at the stats from the game. Fulham 11-0, 25 shots for Fulham, 21
shots from
for Everton. A game with 46 shots in and no goals. 6 on target for Fulham, 4 for Everton. Everton 6 big chances to Fulham's 4. And the possession was even lower than our sweet spot. But there you go, 70%. 2 things I want to take from it. First, Everton's kit.
The all salmon.
Delicious.
Tremendous.
It's good.
Tremendous. Took me back to Coventry 1-0, Mark Ward, I think they wore.
Wardy,
beautiful.
Wasn't after like 3 minutes on live, top corner, boom. And the other thing, the, ex-Everton manager and Everton manager. Marco defo wins the battle of hair. Still got the great hair, Marco Silver, all sweep back. The tracky, but
was that ever a real battle though?
I just feel like it's
when you started the game. Did you ever thought there's a real battle on here for hair?
At times, at times, that's one of the most important things. That's like the game.
We're never winning that, by the way. The only way we're ever winning it is someone who's gone bold but has decided to keep the tufts on the side.
Yeah.
Just shave
like
off,
Jim Smith 2 years ago.
Like
the bald
at
eagle.
least our three have just gone like. I can imagine Ian Wong can grow a good tuft, right? I reckon he can.
A tuft, yeah.
I think he can. I think Sean Dyche can actually grow hair, but he just decides not to make the other two feel the same.
They're all together.
Yeah, they're all together. The actual best part of the game was in the
bald trio.
In the press conference.
Because
I got the full.
Was that the best part of it?
The chef walked through and Dyche asked if he could get him a pie. And the chef went, he's going, no, I'm serious, you can get me a pie. And then, get me two because of my son's here. My anniversary, this. And at first I was like, it's your anniversary, get your wife a pie. And then I realised it was for Everton.
Everton's anniversary.
But that probably was the best bit.
Fair. If getting a pie for the manager's the best bit, then that game.
I just thought it showed Sean had all his best.
No, that's fine. He's down to it. Likes a pie, no issue. I'd like to know what flavour it was. I'm expecting it to be steak. But
I'm sure someone will ask him.
Someone will
ask him. The calibre of questions that he gets during the press conference, someone will ask him.
Did he get it and what flavour was it?
I want to know that.
They're the key moments. But for a 0-0, you know what? It was not a bad 0-0 really. 46 attempts at goal. I think both goalkeepers made a couple of good saves, and it's
ended what it was of two teams lacking quality when it mattered.
Patrick, you can dress it up however you want to. For 46 shots and a 0-0 wasn't a bad game.
Do you know what it was?
I'm not saying 46 shots and none of them went in.
It was two teams that are pure mid-table.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it. We're now in the relegation zone, and we are massively. No, that's 3 clean sheets out the last 4, is it? That's 4, isn't it? Palace, Villa.
Well, 4 clean sheets. 4 out of 5.
Well, in the league.
Why wouldn't I include Palace?
In the league. Well, Palace, it's 4, isn't it?
Well, that's
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. So that's good.
For this year.
That's a good stat.
It made me scratch my head how we managed to give Luton 2 so simple goals at the weekend. That was the mad one. But for the Premier League in 2024, we haven't conceded a goal yet. Well, we haven't scored one, but we haven't conceded one. So, and we have got. I said this to finish now, but I said this last night on me 3 talking points. For me, the positive thing to take into this the second half of the season, even though it's more than half to go, less than half to go, is that we are really solid away, and it's the home form he has got to sort out. We've won 3 home games, and it's February next time we come out onto Goodison Park, and that's the problem. Away, we're quite solid still. Only City, Liverpool have won more away than us.
Yeah.
We are really solid. We look like we give most teams a game now when we go away. Just very briefly, Patrick, how do we correct it at Goodison, because we are so bad at home?
I wish I had a brief answer or any answer to it. I just think we're still not quite comfortable with how we're meant to play. We're kind of caught between 2 stalls at home. Away, generally speaking, we know what we're doing.
We don't mind boring, do we?
I like Tony Gale's explanation of it last night.
What did he say?
He said the reason why we're not as good as home as we are away is because Everton fans expect attacking football at home.
Well,
okay, so
to be fair to Tony Gale, he was grown up and played in that era where we did.
I perhaps would, and I said this after the game on Saturday because I was driving across, I didn't know why I was doing it. I think everyone kind of felt flat going into that game, and we have been beaten down. And it's going to sound like I did get the manager. It's not in a way, but I think his style of play, no one's going to the game and getting excited by it. And that's just we are where we are. He's the right manager right now on all that. But when you need something to get your home crowd up, there's just nothing there.
I heard you two, I got to finish. I heard you two talking before on the more than a game, talking about Palace, and they do have, they can be a bit like Everton. They're a bit boring, aren't they, at times? But they do have Eze at times, and they have Elise, and they are, whatever else they've got structurally, they've got those 2 match-winning players who have got a bit of pace and a trick and can pop one in. We simply don't have that, and
and we're all about grit and fight.
So there's no problem. I've got no issue with that. The real key thing is getting those 2 X-factor players into the side because that would turn Goodison a little bit. I think it'd pick it up. And finally, we knew that you'd gone to the Luton game because one of our viewers said they were going to say hello to you, but you were arguing with your dad about what's gone wrong at Everton.
I don't know about arguing, but making a point. Yeah, he should have said hello. He should have said hello. It's nice to get called out. A heated debate, I think.
A heated debate with his dad to say what was going wrong at Everton. At Goodison, anyway.
Well, I think I might have been having a go at Dash at that point.
Well, that's
might have been saying about his subs.
We can all got our own opinion. There you go. That's us done. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Was it a good point for Everton? Are you happy with that? If you're a Fulham fan, are you disappointed? Who knows? Like Ped said, really, it should have been two teams bang in the middle of the division.
Fulham. Tell you what, they had a rocking montage before the game. That was tremendous. Fair play to you. Fair play to you.
There you go.
But when the camera panned round the game, I don't know.
How have they still not got people in the stand? When I went there last year, it was in October, I think, when I went to Fulham last year. They had the same people in the bottom bit, and I was like, hey, it's going to be good that when it's open.
The pool's leaking, apparently. That's what it is, the pool.
Hang on, is that you surmising that, or is that real?
There's a leak in the pool. And the chlorine's coming through.
The
chlorine's coming through, and that's the problem.
Okay.
Right? But you know, when you pan round, you look at people, you'd honestly think they've just been handing out tickets outside. It's not a real football place. I'm sorry for insulting you. I'm not genuinely that hard.
I love Fulham away.
But it's a great place to go away. You get loads of, but not having any ground that has like a neutral section. I'm just not having it.
They don't have it anymore. They used to have it, I think.
Oh, they just got rid of the word neutral. I'm just not having it. They're not real football fans, right? They're just sitting off so they can get a good view in case there's a boat race outside. That's the problem.
Stop it.
Not having it.
Stop it.
Not having it.
Stop it. I thought you were going to mention the Michael Jackson statue.
It's gone.
I know it's gone.
I'm not having it. There's a fella there and I've seen him sitting in an England coat and that's fun. That's fun. That is typical.
Fulham is sound. I love Fulham away. It's a cracking little away game. Everton don't generally win there though. That's the problem. Although the last,
unbeaten quite.
The last kind of like 7. I think we've lost 1 in 8 there.
Was it Marco Silva? Was he?
He did lose, to Scott Parker when they went down.
When they went down.
Oh my
Andre Gomes gets sent off.
Yeah.
We would have got Europe. And we literally turned up.
Hang on. Should we talk about the 3 sitters Don missed that day?
He picked them. He picked them.
The 3 bloody one-on-ones he missed.
At least he's got good fucking hair, isn't it? Hey.
Hey, but at home we hadn't conceded a goal from February till bleeding August under Marco. Thank you very much.
Well, maybe we should get Marco in as our home manager and Sean in as our away manager then. All right.
I tell you, well, when did the Queen of Scotland Road here? But I tell you what. There you go. You're onto something there. Are you having that, Bob? Are you having it? You're onto something there.
Hey, you.
Times are hard. No, don't do that. Right, we're going. Thanks very much.
You know what I always say?
No.
Know what I always say?
Ta-ra to you. Bye.
And join us on Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Right now, Premier. We're going. Thanks to Pat. Check him out. He's cool. See you later. Bye.